What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome to my final mock draft for the 2018 NFL Draft. This will be the draft that I reference, say, 4 or 5 years down the road when I see how well I knew the 2018 draft class. Now, this mock draft is being recorded a couple days before the official NFL draft, so some drastic trades could be made, so keep that in mind. And make sure you tune in Thursday night, where I'll be doing live reaction videos to all first-round picks. And then on Friday, day 2, I'll be live streaming either on Twitch or YouTube, and chilling with you guys, giving some reactions, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter at PapaXC4 for more info on that. For this mock draft, we're going to be going with main picks, and I'll be giving one alternative pick. So say if we're keeping score at home, I get a main pick right, that's 3 points. If I get my one alternative right, that is half a point. There is no trades, and let's get into it with the first overall pick in the draft belonging to the Cleveland Browns. And with the first overall pick, the Cleveland Browns are selecting quarterback Sam Darnold from USC. This seems like this is pretty much a consensus pick. It's what's going to happen. With the Tyrod Taylor move, you get that luxury of being able to redshirt Sam Darnold if you want. He may play at some point in 2018, which I think they should do, but ultimately he will be the franchise quarterback starting in 2019. It's the fit, man. He is the high ceiling out of any quarterback in this year's draft class. Fits what they're doing in Cleveland. It makes sense. Now, the alternative pick would be Josh Rosen, who I think is the best quarterback right now, but with Darnold's high ceiling, he's the guy they're going at 1. Going to pick number 2, it is the Giants, and this could be the mock draft breaker because they could do anything. Quarterback, running back, defensive end, trade out. Either taking quarterback Josh Rosen from UCLA. I think Rosen, out of last year's quarterbacks, this year's and next year's, is the most pro-ready. He is going to be a stud in this league. And I think when you have Eli Manning, this whole new front office, new coaching staff, you're not going to hinge their tenure on a 37-year-old quarterback. You're going to grab your franchise here in the rare time the Giants have a top 5 pick. I think Rosen is their future starter in 2019. You get the luxury of the red shirt with Eli in 1 year. Alternative option could be Bradley Chubb. I'll go Bradley Chubb over Saquon Barkley, but I think Rosen is the pick here at 2. Going to the third overall pick, the New York Jets. Either selecting quarterback Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma. This seems like pretty much as sure of a thing as you can get. Baker Mayfield does have some off-field concerns, but on the field, he's incredibly accurate, has the leadership, has the intangible qualities that you want in a quarterback. And let's be honest, there's no franchise quarterback on the roster there for the New York Jets. So Baker Mayfield to the Jets. So they get their franchise guy at 3. Alternative could be Josh Allen. This front office has been high on him before, but I think right now, between the two, Baker Mayfield has to be the guy for the Jets. Going to pick 4, the Cleveland Browns. I was letting running back Saquon Barkley from Penn State. I think with Barkley, he's too good to pass up. He's the best player in this year's draft class. You get Sam Darnold, who could very well be the next best thing at the quarterback spot. Why not go get a guy like Saquon Barkley, who as soon as his name is called on draft day, is a top 10 running back in the NFL. Pair that with a 300 attack with Duke Johnson, Carlos Hyde, very similar to what we ran up here in Philadelphia. It's making a whole lot of sense there for the Cleveland Browns. The alternative could be trading back to a QB-hungry team or selecting Bradley Chubb. Going to the 5th round, the Denver Broncos are selecting offensive guard Quentin Nelson from Notre Dame. I think John Elway is a lot higher and more confident in Case Keenum as his quarterback, as some people are giving him credit for. So I think with that being the case, if they think that Case Keenum can replicate what he did with the Minnesota Vikings with the Denver Broncos, which he very well could in a much easier AFC, Quentin Nelson's the best player available. He's drastically going to help that offensive line. He's going to help with that run game, whoever the running back happens to be. And more importantly, he's going to help their now franchise quarterback for the short future in Case Keenum and keep him upright. So Quentin Nelson is the pick. The alternative could be Josh Allen if they want to go QB. But I think ultimately you got to go best player available, and that is Quentin Nelson, who's debatably the second best player in this year's draft class. Pick number 6 with the Colts, switching to that 4-3. They're going to select defensive end Bradley Chubb out of NC State. Bradley Chubb is the best defensive end in what I think is a weak defensive end class, but anytime you make that transition from a 4-3 to a 3-4, defensive end is a major need. That's why I had Bradley Chubb as my alternative option for the Giants, because they're making that switch as well. Ultimately, you know, get something that can help out Andrew Luck on the defensive side, and that is Bradley Chubb being able to get the quarterback and set the edge in the run. The alternative option here at the linebacker spot, not Tremaine Edmonds. I think if they do go linebacker, keep an eye out for Roquan Smith. Going to pick number 7 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I was selecting defensive back Minkah Fitzpatrick from Alabama. I think his versatility is what gets him drafted here, because he can play everywhere in the secondary. He can play safety, nickel corner, outside corner. I think with a team like the Bucs, you get the most bang for your buck. You get a Jalen Ramsey, a poor man's Jalen Ramsey, and that is a compliment for Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I think that helps out a secondary that's not spectacular and would need a player like that. Plus, he can very well be the QB of that defense from the secondary spot. Alternative option here would be Derwin James. Going to the 8th overall pick, the Chicago Bears. I was selecting quarterback Denzel Ward from Ohio State. Now, this was tough. I had to pull on Twitter if they wanted to go him or a linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds, who will remain my alternative option. But I think Denzel Ward gives you more right now as a rookie. I think Denzel Ward could very well be the starting corner opposed Kyle Fuller. Whereas a guy like Trent Edmonds, who might have the highest ceiling in this year's draft class, might need a little bit more work. In the linebacking core, I'm higher on than most in the Chicago area. So I'm going Denzel Ward as a potential rookie that could start day one and be productive for the Bears. Going to pick number 9, the San Francisco 49ers. They're selecting linebacker Tremaine Edmonds from Virginia Tech. Just speaking about him, with the uncertainty of Reuben Foster and just their lack of depth at the position, Tremaine Edmonds, I think they're running up to the podium, handing this pick in. He's a perfect fit for their defense. Can play outside, can play inside, and you also need to have the hindsight and the positive thinking that if Reuben Foster comes back, him and Tremaine Edmonds could very well be Pat Willis, Navarro Bowman 2.0. So it is a great pick here for the Niners. Alternative option could be edge rusher Harold Landry, but I think Edmonds will be the guy. Going to pick number 10, we have the Raiders, where they're selecting linebacker Roquan Smith from Georgia. He's a perfect fit for what John Gruden looks in his linebackers. You may see a little Derek Brooks in him from his time in Tampa Bay, but I think Roquan Smith, sideline to sideline as of day one, is the best linebacker in this year's draft class. And he's a great fit for the Raiders, who've been needing linebacker help for quite some time. Adding him to here Whitehead, they're looking a lot better than what they did last year, giving some help to Khalil Mack. Alternative pick here is getting younger at tackle, and I'll be looking at Texas's tackle Connor Williams. Going to pick number 11 for the Miami Dolphins, I was selecting safety Derwin James from Florida State. I think that juicy pairing of Derwin James and Rashad Jones is one of the better safety tandems in the NFL. And that's just young into Derwin James' career. They're going to assumedly move TJ McDonald to that safety linebacker hybrid type role, which clears the way for Derwin James to do his thing. He's one of the most freakiest athletes to come out of college in quite some time, and Dolphin fans would definitely love to see him in that nice little blue. Alternative pick here could be Vita Vea to take over for Ndamukong Suh's spot on the defensive line. Going to pick number 12 with the Buffalo Bills, I have the selecting quarterback Josh Allen from Wyoming. Now, it might not be the pick that you want, but hear me out. They need to get a quarterback. If they can't trade up, which they're going to try desperately to do, which is my alternative option, Josh Allen has to be the guy. Now, I know they're a team that was a playoff contender last year. Will McCarron do that this year? Because Josh Allen 100% needs to be redshirted. It's not a great scenario, but if you miss out and they can't trade up, I think Josh Allen, just take it on the chin this year. Hopefully he can develop and be everything you need him to be in 2019 to be your next starting franchise QB. I think it's a move that might not be the best, but they might have to be, back against the wall, make it. It's not a drastic reach. I think ultimately he still is a first-round caliber QB, but it might not yield immediate results here for the Bills. Alternative pick would be Daron Payne from Alabama. Going to pick 13, the Washington Redskins select defensive tackle Vita Vea from Washington. If you want to, improve your run defense, not one player in the draft could help more so than Vita Vea, and that's definitely an area that the Washington Redskins want to improve upon. It seems like their front office and coaching staff are raving about Vita Vea, so I think this is a match made in heaven. There you go. Easy does it. Alternative option could be Darius Geis if they want to find a nice partner there for Chris Thompson in the backfield, but I think Vea will be the pick here. Going to pick 14, the Green Bay Packers. I was selecting edge rusher Harold Landry from Boston College. I think you want to go corner, but edge rush and getting after the quarterback is as big of a need on the defensive side. And with Harold Landry, where he's a pure pass rushing specialist that needs to work on his run game, he sets up to be an excellent rotation in there with Nick Perry and Clay Matthews, probably more so Clay Matthews because he's getting up there in age, as just a guy that can get at the quarterback. He could very well be in the Packers 3-4 scheme as an outside linebacker, a double-digit sack getter as a rookie. I think best player available at 14 will be Harold Landry for the Packers. Alternative, they could look at Josh Jackson, maybe Jair Alexander in the secondary, but I think they will go Landry if all these guys are still left. Going to pick 15, we have the Arizona Cardinals, and much like the Buffalo Bills, they'll be selecting a quarterback they might not be overly ecstatic with, but long-term will be beneficial, and that is quarterback Lamar Jackson from Louisville. I think from a system standpoint, might not be the best fit, but from a depth chart, the fact that he can come in, redshirt, sit behind Sam Bradford, and then, hopefully learn all the schemes and get ready to start in 2019. And then him with a healthy David Johnson. Those are two of the most electrifying players in the NFL right there. You get Larry Fitzgerald to return. You get your safety net. I think long-term, Lamar Jackson, the Cardinals, could look a lot better than it will be as him as a rookie sitting behind Sam Bradford on the bench. Alternative option could be maybe Jair Alexander if they don't try to trade up and grab one of the bigger name quarterbacks. Going to pick 16, we have the Baltimore Ravens, where they're selecting wide receiver Calvin Ridley from Alabama. Now, I'm recording this before Des Bryant is signed anywhere, but even if Des Bryant does go to Baltimore with him and Michael Crabtree, they're both similar type wide receivers. They need to get a compliment there for Joe Flacco. I think Calvin Ridley is an excellent compliment to what Des Bryant and Michael Crabtree will, and kind of the make or break year for Joe Flacco. I think if they don't yield any success with Flacco, he doesn't really have the kind of production that his contract is kind of, expecting him to, they might move on from him in the offseason next year. So I think adding a guy like Calvin Ridley could help give the weapons Joe Flacco needs to live up to that contract. Alternative option here could be looking at tackle Connor Williams from Texas. Going to pick 17 with the Chargers, I was selecting defensive tackle Daron Payne from Alabama. With the suspension to Luge, I'm always going to call him that because I'm Canadian, and with Brandon Mebane being 47, I think that this is definitely an area that they will go best player available. Linebackers also a need, but I think Daron Payne has definitely helped himself a whole lot with how well he tested and looked during the combine drills, and long-term could be the fit and just stud, absolute monster that the Chargers defense needs in the interior. Alternative pick, which could very well, I was really just, 1A, 1B here, is Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker from Boise State. Going to pick 18 with the Seattle Seahawks, they are laughing as the top tackle. Connor Williams is still available, so they will be selecting him. Connor Williams out of Texas. He can play either way. I think he walks in day one and could most definitely challenge for Dwayne Brown, but most likely Dwayne Brown at left, and you have him start at right tackle. Match made in heaven. Get Russell Wilson some help, because with no Legion of Boom really anymore, you're going to need Wilson to play again at an MVP level and not be running for his life every single play. Alternative option here could be offensive guard Will Hernandez. Going to pick 19, I have the Dallas Cowboys selecting wide receiver DJ Moore from Maryland. I think in terms of upside, he probably has more upside than any wide receiver in this draft class. I know the Dallas Cowboys have shown a lot of pre-draft interest with him. With them moving on from Des Bryant, I think this could very well be the pick. He gives you some, special teams help. He's a combination of Stephon Diggs, Jarvis Landry. Could very well be maybe the next Odell minus the spectacular catch. I think you need to get Dak Prescott a weapon. That is now an immediate pressing need. Before where it was just, they're probably going to go linebacker. So DJ Moore is the pick. Alternative option is Leighton Vander Esch at linebacker. Going to pick 20 with the Detroit Lions, I was liking defensive tackle Taven Bryan from Florida. I think he might have the highest upside out of any D tackle in this year's draft class. While his box score stats weren't that great, he is an athletic freak with just immense upside and would be a perfect fit for that front, that Matt Patricia front there in Detroit. I think, he fills a need, could probably be a day one starter, most likely would be a day one starter, can rush the passer, good against the run, and hold his blocks, help out the linebackers. He does everything. The upside is immense with Taven Bryan. Alternative picker could be running back Darius Geis. I want to pick 21 with the Cincinnati Bengals, where I've been selecting offensive tackle Mike McGlinchey from Notre Dame. They have to go offensive line. They have to go best player. And, from what I've read, Will Hernandez might not be the perfect fit here for the Cincinnati Bengals. While I do think he's the best offensive lineman available, I think Mike McGlinchey at the tackle spot is the second best tackle in this year's draft class. The only other tackle that's worthy of a first-round grade. And really, they need a tackle to play opposed Cordy Glenn. And I think Mike McGlinchey is very well that type of player. Alternative option here could be, once again, looking at Leighton Vander Esch, the linebacker from Boise State. Going to pick 22 with the Buffalo Bills, I was selecting linebacker Leighton Vander Esch from Boise State. I mean, looking at their linebackers right now, you have 50-year-old Lorenzo Alexander, and you have two, special teamers that are kind of projected to start right now. Whereas a guy like Leighton Vander Esch at 22 might be considered a little bit of a steal. I think he can walk in, be a day one starter, has all the traits that you need. Kind of a hybrid of a new era linebacker, the athletic, rangy type guy, and the old school size linebacker, like, the old Brian Urlacher size linebackers if you want. So I think he'd be a great fit here for Buffalo. Alternative options could be, like I said, part of a trade to go up and get a quarterback, or maybe looking at wide receiver Cortland Sutton from SMU. Going to pick 23 with the New England Patriots, I'm selecting linebacker Rashaan Evans from Alabama. He is your prototypical Bill Belichick defensive playmaker, would be an excellent fit with Dante Hightower back there. Alabama is, a popular school that, obviously New England wants to try to pick from. It also seems like there's a lot of Patriot fans that are Alabama fans, oddly enough. But I think Rashaan Evans here for the Patriots, so they don't trade up to try to get a QB, is a perfect fit for that defense. Alternative options here would be, like I said, trading up for a quarterback, or maybe looking at Marcus Davenport, edge rusher. Going to pick 24 with the Carolina Panthers, I was selecting cornerback Josh Jackson from Iowa. They desperately need help in that secondary right now, and really outside of James Bradbury, there's probably not a legitimate starter that can start day one. So why not go and get a guy as a rookie that could start day one that had the best ball production in college football last year? Probably the best ball production in the draft class out of guys that can force turnovers. That vision athletically kind of dropped a little bit because he did not test particularly well, but I think he is a good fit for that Panthers scheme. Alternative pick here will just be going best player available and looking at Will Hernandez, guard from UTEP. Going to pick 25 of the Tennessee Titans, I was selecting edge rusher Marcus Davenport from Texas San Antonio. I think when you just look at the Titans, not a lot of drastic needs, but I still think being able to have a better edge rush, maybe moving on from someone like Derek Morgan, get a versatile weapon like Marcus Davenport where he's flexible in a 3-4. He could be a linebacker, maybe he can bulk up, be a defensive end. He's just in general an edge weapon. I think for that 3-4 Mike Vrabel defense, a guy like Marcus Davenport could very well fill maybe that Whitney Merciless role that he had in Houston. Alternative pick here, once again, best player available, looking at Will Hernandez. Going to pick 26 for the Atlanta Falcons, I was liking offensive guard Isaiah Wynn from Georgia. Again, just kind of looking at Falcon fans, what they're saying, what some of the more intelligent ones are saying. They don't think Will Hernandez is a good fit for their offensive line scheme, so they are loving Isaiah Wynn staying within state. But I think offensive line is a low-key spot of need because they could definitely upgrade that right guard spot. I think between that and the fact that a lot of the top defensive tackles are already gone, it makes Isaiah Wynn the highest player on their board, and he would start as a rookie pretty much, undisputedly. Alternative picker could be looking at Maurice Hurst, D tackle from Michigan. Going to pick 27 with the Saints, I was selecting tight end Hayden Hurst from South Carolina. Now, I think the Saints, there's no edge rushers left here, no linebackers left. That's not, maybe a reach on their board. They haven't shown interest in Malik Jefferson. So I think tight end is a position they've already come out and said they want to improve. Dallas Goedert, I think, is my favorite tight end, but the fact that he wasn't able to test kind of leaves some questions because of the small school prospect. So they go with a guy like Hayden Hurst that is a drastic riser. You know what you're going to get. Maybe the safest tight end in this year's draft class. A little bit older, but he's definitely an immediate upgrade over Coby Fleener, who's definitely been a disappointment since he came over, and another weapon for Drew Brees and that offense. Alternative picker for the Saints, maybe look at Arden Key from LSU, edge rusher. Going to pick 28 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I was selecting linebacker Malik Jefferson from Texas. They've shown a lot of interest in him pre-draft, and with the uncertainty of Ryan Shazier, Malik Jefferson pairing back there with TJ Watt, that is Bud Dupree, that is a really good linebacking core. I think he's better suited in a 3-4 where he can kind of, really show and highlight all his athletic ability while still being able to refine the technical aspect of his game. So I think for the Pittsburgh Steelers, linebacker Malik Jefferson is a great fit. Alternative option here could be Dallas Goedert, tight end, to upgrade over Jesse James. Going to pick 29 with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I was selecting offensive guard Will Hernandez from UTEP. The Jags already come and said they want to drastically improve their offensive line. They got Andrew Nora, one of the big fish in free agency. Why not go get an absolute value at pick 29 in Will Hernandez, who's probably still the second best offensive lineman, in my opinion, this year's draft class after Quentin Nelson. Just, there you go. They get this. Make sure you draft Leonard Fournette in your fantasy football leagues because he is going to go off. And they instantly have one of the best offensive lines, I think, in football, at least in the AFC. Alternative pick here for the Jaguars could be wide receiver Cortland Sutton. Moving to pick 30 with the Minnesota Vikings, I was selecting offensive guard Billy Price from Ohio State. They drastically need to improve their guards, so why not go get a guy like Billy Price, who unfortunately picked up an injury, but still has been debatably over the last 3 years the best offensive lineman in college, not named Quentin Nelson. So I think that versatility that he adds to the offensive line makes him at pick 30 a really, really good fit for the Minnesota Vikings. Alternatively, they may want to look at Jair Alexander to play corner if they want to look at add competition for Trey Waynes or get a guy that may be able to compete for some nickel snaps. Going to pick 31 with the New England Patriots, I was selecting offensive tackle Colton Miller from UCLA. Now, with Antonio Garcia, he could very well take over that role, but I still think you may want to have some competition there. I think a guy like Colton Miller, who has very, very high upside of the tackles, I think out of all the tackles that are considered first-round prospects, he has the highest ceiling. Might as well, go with that. I don't know. Plus, Marcus Cannon's not, he's not a spring chicken. He's got to be 30. He's starting to get on the tail end of his career. Thinking long-term, Colton Miller could be the best fit for the Patriots offense. Alternative options, they may want to go QB, so that would be a trade, or they could look at Jair Alexander to come in and play nickel corner. And with the last pick in the draft, my Philadelphia Eagles at pick 32 are selecting running back Darius Geis from LSU. You already would have saw that in the mock draft, but I still think, with the future being uncertain with Jay Ajayi, Geis, best player available, top 20 talent, still sitting there at 32, has got to be the pick. Or they can maybe alternatively look at Jair Alexander to come in and play nickel, or look at trading back to try to get the second or third round picks, which you currently don't have. So there you go, guys. That is my final mock draft for the 2018 NFL draft class. Look, I try to have 30 seconds per pick, and I'm still almost 20 minutes in. There's no way to do a short version of this because I want to touch base with all your teams. But let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the picks in the comment section below. Smash the like button if you've been hyped for all the draft content we've been bringing to you. And I want to make sure to remind you guys to tune in Thursday night and do the stream on Friday. That does it for me today, guys. So if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.